Greetings, seeker of hidden truths. Look closely at the image before you. A serpent devouring its own tail, forming an eternal circle. This is the Ouroboros, one of humanity's most ancient and profound symbols, whispering secrets of existence since the dawn of time. It's more than just a mystic emblem. It's a living diagram of the universe, a map of your own soul's journey. Today, we'll journey deep into its coiled wisdom, unraveling mysteries that promise not just understanding, but transformation. Prepare to see life, death, and rebirth not as separate events, but as an endless, sacred dance. For within this serpent's eternal embrace lies the key to knowing yourself, and indeed the very nature of reality. The Ouroboros is a universal archetype, appearing across cultures and millennia, from ancient Egypt to Norse mythology, from Gnostic texts to alchemical manuscripts. At its simplest, it represents infinity and cyclicality. The serpent consumes itself, yet it is never diminished. It is a perpetual motion machine, a living testament to the idea that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Imagine a single drop of water in the ocean. It evaporates, rises, forms a cloud, falls as rain, flows into a river, and eventually returns to the vastness of the sea. It changes form, but the essence of the water remains. The Ouroboros embodies this very principle. Life consuming itself to create life, death feeding rebirth, an unending loop of existence. It's the ultimate recycling symbol, a cosmic reminder that nothing truly ends. It simply changes. Think of the seasons. Winter arrives, seemingly killing off the vibrant life of autumn. Yet within that cold, dormant period, the seeds of spring are already stirring, preparing for the explosion of new growth. Spring blossoms, matures into the fullness of summer, and then gracefully declines into the rich decay of autumn. Each season consumes the last, yet from that consumption, the next is born. The Ouroboros whispers this same truth about your own journey. Every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. This serpent isn't just about endless repetition, it's about perpetual evolution within the cycle. Each turn of the wheel brings subtle changes, new experiences, new lessons. It's not just going around in circles, it's a spiraling ascent, a continuous refinement of being. The Ouroboros shows us that the universe, and our place within it, is in a constant state of becoming. But where did this potent symbol originate? Its earliest known appearance traces back to ancient Egypt, around 1600 BC. Here it was found in the enigmatic Book of the Netherworld within the tomb of Tutankhamun. In this context, it often depicted the cyclical union of the sun god Ra and the god of the afterlife, Osiris, symbolizing the eternal renewal of the solar disk and the promise of rebirth after death. It was a potent image of the cosmic regeneration that ensured the continuous unfolding of creation. From Egypt, the symbol traveled to the Phoenicians, then to the Greeks, who coined the term Ouroboros, meaning tail devourer. This widespread adoption speaks volumes about its fundamental resonance with the human spirit. Part 2. The alchemical serpent. Transformation through consumption. The Ouroboros gained immense prominence in the esoteric tradition of alchemy. To the alchemists, the serpent eating its tail wasn't just about cycles, it was a potent symbol of their grand work, the transformation of base matter into gold, both literally and metaphorically. Think of it like this. The alchemists believed that to create something new and perfect, the old must first be broken down, dissolved, and consumed. The Ouroboros perfectly illustrated this principle of solve et coagula, dissolve and coagulate. The serpent devours itself, symbolizing the dissolution of the old state, and from that very act of consumption, it regenerates and recreates itself in a higher form. This was the core of the prima materia, the undifferentiated substance that contained all potential, waiting to be transformed. This is a powerful metaphor for personal transformation. How often do we cling to old habits, old beliefs, old versions of ourselves, even when they no longer serve us? The Ouroboros urges us to embrace the death of these outdated aspects. It's the courage to look at your shadow, to confront your weaknesses, and to allow them to be consumed by your conscious awareness. Only then can they be integrated and transmuted into something stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true self. Consider the journey of a seed. To become a mighty tree, the seed itself must effectively die. It breaks open, its protective shell dissolving into the soil. But this apparent destruction is the very act that allows life to emerge. The nutrients of the seed are consumed to fuel the initial growth of the root and shoot. This process of consumption and rebirth is fundamental to all growth, whether in nature, in the alchemist's flask, or within the human soul. The alchemist saw the Ouroboros as representing the unity of opposites, the beginning and the end, light and dark, spirit and matter, all contained within a single, self-sustaining whole. It signifies the completion of the great work, where everything returns to its origin, only to be reborn, purified, and perfected. It's the ultimate symbol of wholeness and integration. The continuous loop also hinted at the necessity of perseverance and patience in the alchemical process. Transformation is not a single event, but a tireless, repeated effort. The alchemist, like the serpent, had to continually work on themselves, breaking down their own limitations to reach a higher state of being. Part 3. The Jungian Ouroboros, integrating the self. Beyond alchemy, the Ouroboros found profound resonance in the field of depth psychology, particularly through the work of Carl Jung. Jung, who delved deeply into archetypes and the collective unconscious, saw the Ouroboros not just as an ancient symbol, but as a living representation of the process of individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming a whole integrated self. To Jung, the Ouroboros embodies the primal, undifferentiated state, a symbol of the unconscious mind and the initial childlike totality before the ego fully separates. It represents the psychological truth that within each of us lies the entirety of human experience, including our shadow aspects, those parts of ourselves we deny, repress, or are simply unaware of. It's the original unity, the pleroma, from which our ego emerges, and to which it must eventually return for completion. The act of the serpent eating its tail, in a psychological sense, symbolizes the assimilation and integration of these shadow elements. It's about bringing the unconscious into conscious awareness. Imagine shining a light into the hidden corners of your psyche, acknowledging your fears, your insecurities, even your less desirable traits. It's not about eliminating them, but about understanding them, accepting them as part of your complete self, and integrating their energy. Jung understood that the shadow, though often perceived as negative, contains vital energy and potential. When integrated, this energy can be harnessed for creativity, strength, and a more authentic life. This integration is crucial for true growth. When you deny aspects of yourself, you expend immense energy keeping them hidden, and they often manifest in unhelpful ways, perhaps as projections onto others or as self-sabotaging behaviors. The Ouroboros teaches us that true strength comes from embracing your entire being, the light and the dark, the strengths and the weaknesses. It's a call to self-acceptance, to the understanding that even your perceived flaws hold valuable energy that can be transformed and directed towards your evolution. Jung believed that the Ouroboros also speaks to the continuous nature of psychological development. Just as the serpent endlessly devours and renews itself, so too is the process of individuation a lifelong journey. There's no final destination where you suddenly become enlightened and stop growing. Instead, it's a constant cycle of self-discovery, integration, and rebirth, where each turn brings a deeper understanding of who you truly are and what you are capable of becoming. It's a never-ending dialogue between the conscious and unconscious, a spiraling path towards psychological wholeness. Part 4. The Cosmic Dance, the Ouroboros in Mythology and Philosophy. The Ouroboros isn't confined to Egyptian tombs or alchemist labs. Its essence echoes through countless myths and philosophical systems, reflecting humanity's ancient understanding of the universe. In Norse mythology, we find Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, so enormous it encircles the entire world, biting its own tail. Its very coil holds the fabric of reality together. If Jormungandr were to release its tail, it would signal the coming of Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods, a cataclysmic ending that, crucially, also sets the stage for a new world to emerge. Here, the Ouroboros symbolizes the boundaried totality of the cosmos, the cyclical nature of cosmic events, and the idea that even grand destruction is part of an ongoing, larger pattern of renewal. Philosophically, the Ouroboros embodies the concept of eternal recurrence or cyclical time. Unlike a linear view of time that has a distinct beginning and end, cyclical time suggests that events repeat themselves, perhaps not in exact replicas, but in patterns and themes. Think of the cycles of civilizations: rise, flourish, decline, and fall, only for new societies to emerge from the ashes of the old. The Ouroboros reminds us that history doesn't just move forward, it also spirals, offering us constant opportunities to learn from the past and reshape the future. This concept challenges us to live each moment fully, recognizing its potential for both ending and beginning. It also speaks to the profound idea of unity and interconnectedness. The serpent is both the consumer and the consumed, the beginning and the end. This signifies that all things are fundamentally connected, part of a single, indivisible whole. There is no true separation, only different manifestations of the same underlying energy or consciousness. When you look at the Ouroboros, you are looking at a visual representation of the universe as a self-sustaining, self-creating entity, where everything feeds into and sustains everything else. This universal flow mirrors the ancient Hermetic principle of as above, so below, suggesting that the macrocosm of the universe operates on the same cyclical principles as the microcosm of our individual lives. This cosmic dance suggests that every action has a ripple effect, every ending a hidden beginning. It's an invitation to view challenges not as final roadblocks, but as necessary phases in an ongoing process. Just as the serpent must consume itself to perpetuate its existence, so too must parts of our current reality die or transform for new growth to emerge. Even in modern science, the Ouroboros finds echoes in concepts like feedback loops in systems theory or the life cycles of stars, which are born from cosmic dust, live, die, and then contribute their elements to the birth of new stars and planets. The wisdom of the Ouroboros is truly universal, transcending cultures and eras. Part 5. The Practical Wisdom, Living the Ouroboros Principle. So, how can this ancient mystical symbol of the Ouroboros guide your modern life? Its wisdom isn't just for scholars or spiritual seekers. It offers profound practical advice for navigating the inevitable cycles of your own existence. First, the Ouroboros encourages acceptance of change and impermanence. We often resist endings. The end of a relationship, a job, a phase of life, or even an old version of ourselves. We try to hold on to comfort zones, fearing the unknown. Yet the serpent teaches us that these endings are not failures, but essential parts of the cycle. By clinging to what's fading, we prevent what's waiting to be born. Embrace the release. Trust that just as winter turns to spring, something new and vital is always on the horizon. This isn't passive resignation. It's active participation in your own evolution. It's the spiritual practice of letting go, making space for the new to emerge from the void of the old. Second, it fosters resilience and regeneration. Life will present challenges, moments where you feel broken down or consumed by circumstance. The Ouroboros reminds you that even in these moments of consumption, there is an inherent capacity for renewal. Just as the serpent regenerates itself, you too have an innate ability to heal, learn, and emerge stronger from adversity. See setbacks not as dead ends, but as transformative crucibles, places where old forms are dissolved so a more resilient self can emerge. When you face a difficulty, instead of asking, "Why me?" logically ask, "What is this experience teaching me? What old belief is this dissolving so a new one can be built?" This shift in perspective is the Ouroboros in action. Third, the Ouroboros inspires conscious creation through self-reflection. The serpent eats its own tail, symbolizing a self-referential process. For us, this means regularly turning inward, reflecting on our experiences, both triumphs and failures. What lessons can be gleaned from the death of an old habit? What energy is freed up when you consume a limiting belief? This introspection allows you to integrate your experiences, making you a more conscious co-creator of your reality rather than a passive recipient of circumstances. Practices like journaling, meditation, or quiet contemplation become powerful tools for engaging in this personal Ouroboric process. You are, in essence, digesting your own life experiences to extract wisdom and fuel future growth. Finally, and perhaps most importantly for Temet Nosha, the Ouroboros is a profound symbol of wholeness and integration. It urges you to accept all parts of yourself, your light and your shadow, your strengths and your vulnerabilities. True power comes not from denying your flaws, but from acknowledging and integrating them, turning perceived weaknesses into sources of understanding and empathy. It's about recognizing the divine spark within that is constantly renewing itself, always becoming, always evolving. This radical self-acceptance is the foundation of true peace and genuine self-knowledge. It's the ultimate understanding that you are already complete, and the journey is simply to fully realize that inherent wholeness. Part 6. Embracing the infinite spiral. The Ouroboros, this ancient serpent, doesn't just represent a flat circle of endless repetition. It represents a spiral of continuous growth. With each cycle of life, death, and rebirth, we are meant to ascend, to learn, to evolve into a more conscious, integrated, and expansive version of ourselves. Imagine it not as a two-dimensional circle, but as a three-dimensional helix, always moving forward even as it circles back to familiar themes. Each revolution brings you to a slightly higher, more refined point. This understanding allows us to approach life with profound optimism and courage. No matter what endings you face, whether a relationship concludes, a career path shifts, or an old identity fades, the Ouroboros assures you that these are simply critical points in an ongoing, meaningful process. They are the moments of consumption that fuel new creation. They are the dissolution before the coagulation of something richer and more refined. When you look at the Ouroboros, remember it's not just a symbol of the cosmic order, but a mirror reflecting your own inner journey. You are constantly devouring and renewing, releasing and receiving, ending and beginning. Embrace this eternal dance, trust the cycles, and know that within every ending, a doorway to profound renewal awaits. Your life is a continuous masterpiece of transformation, guided by the ancient wisdom of the serpent. May the wisdom of the Ouroboros guide your path to deeper self-knowledge and unending transformation, and may you recognize the infinite serpent coiled within your own being, whispering the timeless secret of eternal becoming. If this journey through the eternal cycle spoke to something deep within you, help us keep the wisdom flowing. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support helps this message of transformation reach those who need it. And let us know in the comments, what truth do you see in the Ouroboros? Until next time, keep seeking, keep evolving,